Welcome to Common Core Algebra 2 exam from January 2017. We have a nice live performance here today with some students in the classroom ready to prepare for their Algebra 2 exam tomorrow. However, as promised, they will be a part of this video which students will be using for years and years to come. So, let's get started. Relative to the graph of y equals 3 sine x, what is the shift of this graph? Well, what makes this graph different than the other? I see that the x has a plus 3. This is more of an Algebra 1 question. You have your translation rules from Algebra 1. F of x plus a, f of x minus a, f of x plus a in parentheses, f of x minus a in parentheses. Here I'm adding to the f of x, it's going up. I'm subtracting from the f of x, it's going down. Here I'm adding to just the x, I'm going left. Remember, when you're in the parentheses, it's always the opposite direction you think. So x minus a is right. In this case, it's plus to the x, which would be this rule right here, which means it's going. Nice, fun start. Number 2, we're going to do this very carefully. A rabbit population doubles every 4 weeks. This is my time that's irregular. It's kind of like half-life, except it's on half, it's double. So, know your modeling exponential formulas. There's no compounding here, so I'm not going to divide by anything, but my exponent is going to be my T over H. So I have A, P, R, T, H. If it doubles every 4 weeks, that means the rate is 100% or 1. Every 4 weeks, that's my H. That's how long it's taking for the doubling to happen. There are currently 5 rabbits. That's my initial or principal value. T represents the time. P of T is the population. Okay, it wants me to call A P of T. I'll do whatever it wants. About how many rabbits will there be in 98 days? Well, here's the twist. It doubles every 4 weeks. So how many weeks is 98 days? Well, I'm going to divide 98 by 7 and get 14. Make sure the units match. They don't match here. It's very easy to make that mistake. Let's try not to make that mistake. So now I have those values. A equals P 1 plus 1 to the 14 over 4. You might want to make that 1 plus 1 is 2. You put it into your calculator, and I'm not going to pull the calculator up for this one. I'm just going to do it myself. 5 times 2 to the power of 14 over 4 is 56 point something, which is true. If you are not prepared for exponential modeling, well, it's going to be a rough exam for you. Make sure you study over your formulas, make sure you practice them, and you're good from there. 2 ways to do this question. Factoring. Well, A, you can factor it. B, whenever you see variables in the problem and variables in the answers, you can use your multiple choice strategy. Let's do it by hand first. If you go to the Common Core Algebra 2 songs playlist, you can hear all of my songs, which include the factoring song. First thing you look for in your factoring is a GCF. Is there a GCF? Yes. I can take an M out of everything. M to the 4 plus M squared minus 6. Can I factor any further? Yeah, this is a trinomial. Because it's got a M to the 4th and M squared goes in front for each. First sign comes down. Positive times a negative is a negative. Multiplies to 6. 1 and 6. 2 and 3. Subtracts to 1. 3 and 2. Can that be factored any further? Not on this planet. My answer is choice 4. Now, I'm doing this using my multiple choice strategy, which is going to be very crucial, a nice way to get points, because the state likes to make some really, really difficult multiple choice questions, which become really simple if you can use your multiple choice strategy. So, to use your multiple choice strategy, you need to do one thing first. You need to set values for x and y. So, I always use, oh, that's right, it doesn't work. I arbitrarily choose 10 for x, so I'm going to do 10, store as x, and then in case I need a second variable, I'll use y. So I'll do 15, a different arbitrary value, store as y. Y 10 and 15, doesn't matter. Don't choose 0, don't choose 1, and 2 isn't fantastic either. Also, don't choose values that are the same. You have to do this once. Once you do it, you're good. Your calculator will default to 0. We don't want that. So I'm going to type in the original problem. I'm not going to type in m, I'm going to type in x. X to the 5th plus x to the 3rd minus 6x second test equals, and I'm going to type in each answer. So I have parentheses x plus 3 parentheses x minus 2. 0 means not equivalent. So that is definitely not the answer. Instead of retyping the whole thing, I'm going to tab up and paste that and just change the right-hand side. So I'm going to do x squared plus 3x parentheses x squared minus 2 for choice 2. Again, it gives me a 0. That's not the answer. I'm going to highlight that again. I got now x squared, x to the 4th plus x squared minus 6. Let's delete the rest of this stuff. Delete. X to the 4th plus x squared minus 6. Am I missing something in front? Yes, I'm missing the x in front. Second, insert x. Now that one gives me a 1. That means that's equivalent. Now I have to check all 4 choices because it is possible that I can get multiple 1s. So we'll deal with that in a moment. So here I have x parentheses x squared plus 3 parentheses x squared minus 2. Close the parentheses. Let's get rid of everything after this. Delete. Seems boring, doesn't it? All right. I won't do this for all the multiple choice riddles. Talk about it in the future. They both gave me 1s. So basically, I got 0, 0, 1, 1. That means that both of choices 3 and 4 are equivalent. It does say factored completely, so which of them is factored completely? Choice 4. Because choice 3 can be factored 4. Multiple choice strategy is huge. It goes a little bit fast. We actually have a handheld calculator instead of me pressing little buttons on my computer. Really, really important strategy. Let's move on to number 4. This is a question where, well, you know it or you don't. Here's the Pythagorean identity. You need to recognize the Pythagorean identity. What kind of question are they going to ask you about the Pythagorean identity? I have no idea. Just understand that a sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals 1. They can give it to you. I don't know what they're going to ask. But they're probably going to ask something. In this case, the concept they're trying to ask is that you understand that theta is the same for sine squared and cosine squared. So if theta here is 32, then theta here is 32. And that's it. No math, just understanding the concept of the Pythagorean identity. Moving along. What is the solution to the system of equations y equals 3x minus 2 and y equals g of x, where g of x is defined by the function? Sorry about that. It is a little hectic here during Regents Week. Got a little disruption. So, we're right back. What is the solution to the system of equations y equals 3x minus 2 and y equals g of x? I don't know how this is an Algebra 2 question. This is like an Algebra 1 question or a middle school equation. I don't know. So I can handle it. Or maybe there's a twist. I don't know. 3x minus 2 has a y-intercept of negative 2. Up 1, 2, up 1, 2, 3, over 1, 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 looks like about there. Let's see what my options are. Definitely 1, comma 1. Does it intersect again at 6, comma 16? Looks like it. Looks like my answer is choice 4. Could you always go into the calculator and figure that out? Yes. That's all we got for that. 6. Which statement about statistical analysis is false? Well, there's a lot of things to understand about statistics, specifically statistical studies. Let's talk about them all quick. Surveys. You're asking somebody something. You want to get a good random sample, and then you can go from there. Now, the main difference between a controlled experiment and observational study is that a controlled experiment has a treatment. An observational study does not. And the other big concept with this particular question is testing is that cause and effect relationships can only be determined from controlled experiments. So which statistical analysis is false? Let's go through each choice. Experiments can suggest patterns and relationships. Absolutely they can. Experiments can determine cause and effect relationships. Yes, they're the only type of statistical study that can. Observational studies can determine cause and effect relationships. Nope. Only controlled experiments can. Can observational studies suggest patterns and relationships? Yes. You can determine there's going to be a correlation based on an observational study, but not a cause and effect relationship. The only way to get a cause and effect relationship is to do a controlled experiment. You know your stats, you get this question correct. You don't, you don't. Well, I have a song for this one. 4 steps, stay structured. You don't stay structured, you'll be all over the place. Radicals are fractional exponents. So your first step, if you have radicals, you want to rewrite it as a fractional exponent. There are none here. Next, get rid of parentheses. Are there parentheses here? Yes. So everything inside gets the exponent. So this is going to become, oh, I have enough space here. When I'm raising a power to a power, I multiply the powers. 2 times negative 1/2 is negative 1. 1/3 times negative 1/2 is negative 1/6. Next step, negative exponents are fractions. So I have negative exponents. I already have a fraction. Even if I didn't, I make a fraction, and whatever's being raised to a negative exponent moves. So m is being raised to a negative exponent, so it moves to the bottom, the exponent becomes positive. Same thing on the bottom, it's going to move to the top. Your final step, clean it up. That can mean a lot of different things. In this case, I'm dividing. When I divide, I subtract the exponents. 1/6 minus 1. Well, I know you're all fantastic with your subtracting of fractions. Use a calculator if you need to. It's going to give you m to the negative 5/6. Now, I don't see that answer there because, again, radicals are fractional exponents and negative exponents are fractions. So let's see if I can extend this page. Fantastic. Negative exponents are fractions because it's being raised to a negative power. It goes to the bottom and becomes positive. And radicals are fractional exponents. Doing fantastic on space here. So it's going to become 1 over radical power over the root. The root is 6. The power is 5. My answer is choice number 2. Now, hopefully my students are saying to themselves, hey, Mr. Schlansky, can I use multiple choice strategy for this? Yep. Use multiple choice strategy like we just did in the previous question. I'm not going to type the whole thing again, but use multiple choice strategy, get this right without any of that. Can you see something like this in an open response? Absolutely. Check out my song, Radicals and Fractional Exponents, to get these 4 steps stuck in your head. Moving along. Ooh, this is a fast one, if you know the concept. You know what the inverse of a log function is? Well, I do. It's an exponential function. Logs and exponents are inverses of each other. So which one is exponential? Not 1, that's cubic. Not 2, that's log. Choice 4, I don't like x equals. It's an exponential where the base of the exponent is the same as the base of the log. In general, inverse means switch x and y, and you still can do it that way. It gets a little more complicated here, but as long as you know that logs and exponentials are inverses of each other, you'll get the right question every way. Our favorite question. A lot of students, they see this, they start reading, and they realize, well, not very good at reading. So, I see a sample distribution like this. I know I'm going to have to find the confidence interval. Now, in this case, is it giving me my information for the confidence interval? Let's kind of read through it. Gabriel performed an experiment to see if planting 13 tomato plants in black plastic mulch leads to larger tomatoes than if 13 plants are planted without mulch. Because students totally know what the mulch is, right? Anything mathematical in that first sentence? No. All right, they're doing an experiment. He observed that the average weight of the tomatoes from the tomato plants grown in black plastic, grown in black plastic mulch was 5 ounces greater than those from the plants planted without the mulch. Anything mathematical there? Yes. This 5, that's the mean difference. Whenever you're doing an experiment, what we care about is the mean difference. The mean difference here is 5. So, if the mean difference is 5, I'm not even going to read on right now. I'm going to find 5 on the sample distribution, which is about here. And I'm going to look and see how much we're more extreme. The magic number is 5%. Is this less than 5% or more than 5%? Well, I can count up all the little circles here, or I can kind of just look at this and say, this is definitely going to be more than 5%, which means it is in the confidence interval, which means the treatment was not effective. Because through randomly selecting, it's very common to get a mean difference of 5 ounces or greater. So, I particularly don't like this question, nor does any teacher in New York State. Of course, teachers don't make the exams. And, well, if anyone from New York State sees has a problem with it, then feel free to contact me. I can definitely get rid of a couple of choices here. There's strong evidence to support the hypothesis that tomatoes from plants. No. Okay? There's not strong evidence. There's not a significant difference. So 3 and 4 are out. So we're left with 1 and 2. There was no effect observed between the two groups, or there was an effect observed that could be due to the random assignment of plants to the groups. The answer is choice 2, because there is a difference. One group is 5 ounces bigger than the other. That's due to random chance or random assignment. As far as I'm concerned, as far as the treatment goes, as far as the implications of this, there is no significant effect observed, but hopefully New York State learns from their poor choices and goes from there.
What the confidence interval? What are we looking for? Because it seems to me, and I have a problem. You're saying something positive. It's in the confidence interval, and then you're saying it's not effective.
Correct.
It's not getting it.
So, by the way,
I have a lot of problems with this too.
We are recording a video right now, so no, that's okay. I'm sure a lot of other people are in this video and thinking that same exact thing. So, what does that mean? Well, when the tomato plants were randomly selected, if the experiment happened, randomly. So we're not just looking at the treatment group and the control group, we're looking at everything else together. This is what I got due to random chance. So, if I get a value that falls within the confidence interval, then I will have gotten that value due to random chance. So there's no reason to believe that the treatment did anything, because I would have gotten 5 just by randomly selecting tomatoes. Now, if I got something outside the confidence interval, I wouldn't have gotten it due to random chance. What would have made it outside the confidence interval was that the treatment made it outside the confidence interval. So when you're looking at these controlled experiments and you're looking to see if the treatment's effective or if it's a significant difference, if it's outside the confidence interval, the treatment brought it outside the confidence interval. If the treatment was not effective, then it stays inside the confidence interval. New York State is a little bit smarter now for having heard that question. There's kids in the state, not people that make the exam. All right. Number 10, P of x equals AB to the power of x, R of x equals CD to the power of x, and P of x times R of x equals, well, let's multiply them together. Do I see that right now? No, of course we don't. Are there any pluses or minuses here? No, so I know I can get rid of those choices. Now, this is I don't know, Algebra 1, middle school. I don't particularly like this question too much. It's just manipulating variables. But because B and D are both being raised to the power of x, you can put them together, raised to the power of x, and AC would be in front. So that would be choice 3. Could you use multiple choice strategy for this? Well, you're going to need 5 variables, but sure. The solution to the equation. Well, it's a quadratic equation. I'm looking at the answers, like the i's and radicals, so I know I'm going to have to use quadratic formula. I'm going to list my A, B, and C values. A is 18, B is negative 24, C is 87. So you might be thinking, well, can't I use quadratic formula as well? I'm sorry, can I use completeness square as well? Well, if you want to do completeness square with an A value of 18, be my guest, but I am not going to choose to do that now for 2. X equals positive 24 plus or minus radical negative 24 squared. Make sure that B goes in parentheses. If it's not in parentheses, you get it wrong. 4 times 18 times 87 all over 2 times 18. Now I'm going to use a little bit of strategy here. I see that this value here is positive, therefore it cannot be choices 1 and 2 because the number in front is negative. Next step, do what's inside the radical. So I'm going to pull up my calculator. I'm going to type in parentheses. I'm not typing in the radical, I'm just typing what's underneath the radical. in case your whole family is sitting around and watching this together because this is some quality entertainment, and you're in Algebra 1, pretty much you see the same types of questions in Algebra 1, just without the negatives inside the radical, without the i's. So I get negative 5,688. So I have x equals 24 plus or minus the radical, negative 5688 over 36. I don't know what little dot got there. There's no dot there. Now, my next step, off to the side, I want to reduce the radical. That's a big number. Well, I'm going to cheat a little bit. First of all, I'm going to pull that I out. I see this 158 here, so I'm assuming that my non-perfect square is going to be 158. So then I can just divide 5688 by 158 to find my perfect square. Because I see the 6 here, I'm assuming it's going to be 36, but I don't want to assume anything because I don't want to get a question wrong on the Regents. Sure enough, it is 36, which makes it 6i radical 158. So now I'm going to rewrite this. My next step, if possible, I want to reduce. Can I take something out of everything? Yes. I can take a 6 out of everything. And I end up with x equals 4 plus or minus I radical 158 over 6. Now I don't see that exact answer there, but I see them broken apart, so I can do 4 over 6 becomes 2 over 3 plus or minus 1i 1 over 6i radical 158, which is make sure you practice quadratic formula. I love completing the square in Algebra 1. Most of the questions can be done in completing the square. In Algebra 2, most of the questions cannot be done with completing the square because they give you weird A and B values. It's really weird making this video with students in the room because for some reason I'm not making eye contact with them. I'm going to start making eye contact with them now. Oh, it's really weird. Well, they're right, but I don't know why I'm afraid. All right, we're good now. Goldfish. Okay. When g of x equals 2 over x plus 2 and h of x equals log x plus 1 plus 3 are graphed in the same set of axes, which coordinate best approximates the point of intersection? Can't get any more straightforward than this. y1, y2. I'm going to put them both into the calculator. I'm going to find their point of intersection. I'd say more than half of the time, you will need to adjust your window. I've got a feeling on this one I'm not, but be aware that it's very likely you're going to have to adjust your window. If you don't know what I mean by that, well, do something about it. Y equals, let's get these out of there. I've got alpha y equals enter 2 over x plus 2, and then I'll go to y2 and I'll put log. I don't need a log base here because there is no log base. Could you be fancy and do log base 10? Sure. I'm not very fancy though. Plus 3. I always start off with zoom 6. If zoom 6 gives me nothing, then I go to zoom 0, which is zoom fit. This gives me everything I want to see. Are they going to intersect outside this window? No. So to do the intersection, second trace, which is calc, option 5, which is intersect, I'm going to move my cursor to where they intersect. I'm going to hit enter. Now, sometimes it doesn't hop to it, so we're just going to hit up so it hops to the other curve, or right. Somehow it gets out of the curve. Did it get there yet? Get there. It needs to be on both curves. There we go. It tells you the intersection. For most of the questions dealing with the intersection, if it says when is f of x equals to g of x, you're asking for the x value. This one is asking for the point of intersection. If you cannot round, you lose 2 points on this. That's kind of mean, New York State, taking off 2 points from an 11th grader for understanding the concept, but not being able to round. But I can round. So it is negative 0.9 and 1.9. Number 13. I don't like this question here, Steve. I do know that this is definitely an exponential function. So I can take out choice 1, which is linear. I can take out choice 4, which is a sinusoidal. But I didn't love the rest of it. You can look at this and say, well, is it a 43% growth rate or a 4% growth rate? I don't know how well students will see that. I guess it's not too bad. It's obviously not 43%. If it was 43%, this thing would get really big really fast. It's going to be choice 3. What you can also do is type in each choice and adjust the window accordingly. I'm not going to do that. Moving along. This was another fantastic question. The 8th and 10th terms of a sequence are 64 and 100. So I have the 8th term, I have the 10th term. 8th term is 64, 10th term is 100. If the sequence is either arithmetic or geometric, the 9th term cannot be. Well, let's test it out and see what happens. If the 9th term is negative 82, because the signs are alternating, it would have to be geometric. So, if 100 divided by negative 82 and negative 82 divided by 64 give me the same value, then yes, it is going to be geometric. So I go to my calculator. I'm going to go to my little personal calculator here, which may or may not be pink. 1.219 whatever. Negative 82 divided by 64 is negative 1.28125. They do not divide to the same thing. So as far as I'm concerned, this is, why isn't it writing? Probably freeze. It freezes. So when it freezes, then I come over here. I hit pause. We are back from technical difficulties. Nothing can slow us down. So it looks like here these are not, those are not the same, therefore there's no common ratio. So let's now try negative 80. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. So again, because the signs are alternating, it would have to be geometric. So I'm going to do negative 80 divided by 64 and 100 divided by negative 80. If they're the same, then it has a common ratio and it's geometric. If not, then it's not. Hopefully I didn't make a mistake. No, of course I didn't make a mistake. I'm a math teacher. 100 divided by negative 80. They both give me negative 1.25. So yes, that can be the 9th term. It would be a geometric sequence where the common ratio is negative 1.25. Positive 80, well, that's not going to require too much work from us because we just kind of did that with the negative. But I will do it again. If it's positive 80, again, I can try arithmetic or geometric. I just did geometric. So 80 divided by 64 and 100 divided by 80 are both going to be positive 1.25. So yes, they could be geometric with a common ratio of positive 1.25. Finally, I can try 80. Now 80, I'm going to jump right to trying arithmetic. If it's arithmetic, then 100 minus 80 would be the same, 82. I got some hints, some help from my students there. Thank you very much. 100 minus 82. If that's the same as 82 minus 64, we're in business. They're both 18, so it's arithmetic with a common difference of 18. Which one is not correct? One. Kind of an annoying question to do because you have to go through each choice and test it. Again, if they subtract the same amount, it's arithmetic, with that amount being the common difference. If they divide the same amount, then it's geometric, with that amount being the common ratio. Moving along. Oh, reading is good. If you can read, this question's pretty simple. They like to give you these crazy formulas you've never seen before. They tell you what each thing is, and then you just substitute into it. So, let's get to our reading comprehension. The loudness of a sound is measured by units called decibels. Anything mathematical there? No. Do students know what decibels are? Most of them, probably not. These units are measured by first assigning an intensity, I0, to a very soft sound that is called the threshold sound. So, I0 is called the threshold sound. Have students seen this before? Well, I was a music minor for a couple semesters, and I don't know the threshold sound. The sound to be measured is assigned as intensity I. So, I is the intensity. And the decibel reading D, so D is your decibel reading. And then it gives you a formula. D equals 10 log I over I0. The threshold sound, audible to the average person is, so this is your I, 0. Consider the following sound level classifications. That's fantastic. How is sound of intensity, intensity I, declassified? Well, I need the decibel reading to use this chart. D equals log I is 6.3 times 10 to the negative third. What did I do wrong?
10 log.
10 log. 10 log, yes, it is. 10 log I over I0 is 1.0 times 10 to the negative 12. Okay, so I'm going to go to my calculator, and I'm going to type that monstrous thing in. So I got my, I'm going to ask my students to help me out here in just a moment. I'm going to get my alpha y, no I'm not, it's 10 log, correct? 10 log, again, no log base here. Alpha y equals enter for the fraction. You have it in Spire, well, you're on your own. The top is 6.3, 10 to the power of negative 3. And then my bottom is 1.0. You guys can hear how enthusiastic everybody is to be giving me those answers. Thank you. And it's going to give me a decibel rating of 97.99, whatever. So which interval does that? So which interval does that fall in? Very loud. Every time I turn around, there's more people in here. Moving on. Pedro and Bobby each own an ant farm. Wow, that's so cool. That's totally what all high school kids do, right? Pedro starts with 100 ants. and says his farm is growing exponentially at a rate of 15% per month. Okay, so let's make an exponential function for that. His initial value is 100. It's growing at 15% per month, so that's 1.15 to the power of Bobby starts with 350 amps and says this farm is steadily decreasing by 5 amps per month. So Bobby has a linear function where he is decreasing by 5 amps per month. So the rate goes in front of the variable, and he has 350 to start. Assuming both boys are accurate in describing the population of their ant farm, well, of course, anybody who has an ant farm will be able to describe it accurately, that goes without saying. After how many months will they both have approximately the same number of ants? 100, 1.15 to the power of m equals negative 5m plus 350. The best way to figure this thing out is, again, y1, y2, find the intersection. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to my calculator. I'm going to do, maybe I can actually move it so I can see it. Y1 is 100. 1.15 to the power of x. I'm sure that behind me right now, all of my students are doing this themselves to make sure they know how to do it. And then we got negative 5x plus 350. Now, I've got a feeling that when I go to Zoom 6, I'm not going to see much. And let's see what happens. I see, looks like nothing. So if you see nothing, Zoom Fit is a good try. That's Zoom 0. That should give you a better picture. You still might need to adjust your window, but it should at least give you something to work with. All right, there's my exponential function, nice and fast. There's my linear function. Do I see the point of intersection?
Yeah.
Perfect. I don't have to adjust anything more. Second trace, which is calc. Intersect is 5. Move the cursor there. Come on. Come on. He's moving. He's moving. He's moving. He's there. Enter, enter, enter. I got my intersection. It's asking after how many months. Is months the x value or the y value? I don't know if I'm talking to my students or myself or people that are online. The intersection months is my x value, 8. 8 months. So I'd say most Regences, like, I don't know, maybe twice you're doing the intersection. So, whoa, I don't know what that was. Oh no. Oh no, I don't know what I did. Okay, I'm back. I'd say most Regencies, there's like 2 questions we're going to be doing y1, y2 intersect. So if you're taking your exam and you are not doing y1, y2 intersect, well, question that and go back there and see if you're supposed to do it somewhere. What is the solution of, if any, of the equation? Well, I could solve this by hand, but you know what? I'm not gonna. I'm going to use multiple choice strategies. I'll talk about how to do it by hand in a little bit, but this is a nasty, long equation to solve, or you can just check each answer and see if it works. So, oh, I don't like that. I don't know what I did. Oh well. Let's pull my calculator back up. No, I really don't like that. I'm going to pause it. And we're back. All right, so let's get my calculator up. Now, there's a real easy way to use multiple choice strategy, especially when it's long and messy like this. I'm just going to store -1 for x. And then I'm going to just type the equation in. Alpha y equals enter 2 over x plus 3 minus alpha y equals enter 3 over 4 minus x. Second test equals alpha y equals enter 2x minus 2 over x squared minus x minus 12. And if I get a 0, it's correct. If I get a 1, it's incorrect. I got a 1, so -1 works. Well, if -1 works, it might be choice 1. It could also be choice 3. So I'm going to see if -5 works. I don't have to retype the whole thing. I'm just going to hit -5, store as x, and I'm going to copy this and paste it, and it gave me a 0. So -1 works, -5 doesn't work. Therefore, the answer is choice 1. Now, if I'm going to do this by hand, I'm reluctant, but I'm going to do it. What makes this equation different than a middle school equation? Fractions. To get rid of fractions, multiplied by the LCD. To find the LCD, find all your factors. Factor the denominator first. My LCD here is x minus 4, x plus 3. So I'm going to multiply everything by x minus 4, x plus 3. X plus 3 cancel. I'm left with 2 times x minus 4 minus 4 minus x, and x minus 4 cancel to -1. So that's a negative and a minus becomes plus 3x plus 3 equals, cancels, 2x minus 2. Well, at least there's no x squared in this equation. So I'm going to distribute 2x minus 8 plus 3x plus 9 equals 2x minus 2. I'm going to combine my like terms. I'm going to bring all the x's to one side. I like to switch colors. Keep me entertained. 3x equals -3 divided by 3. X equals -1. And that's great and all. I have to check it anyway. So again, if you see this as a multiple choice question, what I just did is fantastic and all, but just put the answers in, see if it works, move on. You do have to check to see if -1 will make the denominator 0. Will -1 make any of the denominator 0 in this case? Nah. It works. Could you see a 4-point open response question like this? Absolutely. So you do need to know how to solve a fractional equation, but if it's multiple choice, just use your multiple choice strategy, get it correct, and move on with your life. In 2013, approximately 1.6 million students took the critical reading portion of the SAT exam. That's great. Okay. The mean score, the modal score, the standard deviation were calculated to be. So the mean is 496. The modal score, or the mode, is 430. And the standard deviation is 115. Which interval reflects 95%? 95% is your confidence interval. if you do not know how to find the confidence interval, well, you better learn between now and when you're taking the exam, which for everybody in this room is
Tomorrow.
about 24 hours, a little 24 hours. So the mean is, so again, let's write it out. It's the confidence interval is the mean plus or minus 2 times the standard deviation. The mean is 496 plus or minus 2 times 115. The answer is choice 4 because I can multiply. Confidence interval is super, super important. It came up twice so far. Ooh, number 19. So it's giving you 4 functions. It's saying which is untrue. Well, you could graph each of them, find the maximum, find the intercept, look at the end behavior, and look at the zeros. But you know what? This is getting kind of long. I'm just going to use my brain a little bit. But if it's the Regents exam, definitely do that to help yourself out. The answer is choice 2 because the big concept for log graphs. Log graphs have a vertical asymptote and go through the point 1, 0. The range is all real numbers. The domain is all positive numbers. Does a log graph that's not shifted have a y-intercept? No, it doesn't. This does not have a y-intercept, therefore that one is untrue. Again, you could look at all these functions and go through that, and it's a bit of a headache, but it is what it is. But if you do know your properties of log graphs, you know that a log graph that's not shifted does not have a y-intercept. Big concepts. When g of x is divided by x plus 4, the remainder is 0. That means that x plus 4 is a factor. If x plus 4 is a factor, then negative 4 is a 0. Another way of saying that is g of negative 4 is 0. Very, 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 very big concept that you need to understand. Once you know what a factor is, you know what the 0 is, and vice versa. Moving on. Joel is a credit card that has a 19.2% annual interest rate, sometimes a monthly. Maybe they're trying to scare you guys to not have credit cards, or at least pay your balance in full. But that's besides the point. It's a lot of money. She owes a total balance of B dollars after M months. Assuming she makes no payments on her account, the table below illustrates the balance she owes after M months. Over which interval of time is her average rate of change for the balance on her credit card account rate? Well, average rate of change, we have a song for that. If you want to go to my Common Core Algebra 2 playlist, F of B minus F of A over B minus A. Now, these questions are a little annoying because you're going to have to go through each choice and see which one has the greatest average rate of change. So, for choice 1, 10 to 60. What? That's not 60. We have 2591, 90 minus 1172 over 60 minus 10. For choice 2, we have 19 to 69. So let's get this. 19 to 69. Again, everyone should be doing this along with me for practice. 2990 minus 1352 over 69 minus 19. Choice 3. $36 to 72, 36, 72, 31, 35, 80, minus 1770, 80 over 72 minus 36. And finally, choice 4 is 60 to 73. My students have done this question many, many, many times. I think they know what the answer is going to be just through blind repetition. 3186 minus 259190 over 73 minus 60. I can go to my calculator and type all these in. I'm going to use my personal calculator, save a little bit of time here. Make sure you use alpha y equals enter when you're typing it in. Make it easy on yourself. 259190 minus 1172 over 16 minus 10. Hopefully my students and everybody got the same thing that I did, which is 28.398. Then option 2, I've got 2990 minus 1352 over 69 minus 19. Yeah, this is probably the boring part of the video. You can go and get yourself a snack. Do what you gotta do. 819 divided by 25 is 32.76. Then I got my blue. 313580 minus 1770, 80 over 72 minus 36. I got 37.916. And finally, in green, I got a good feeling about green. 3186 minus 259190 over 73 minus 60 is 45.7. Which one's the greatest? Choice. Again, it's a little bit of a long problem. It would be nice if they just said, find the average of change for one interval, but be prepared to do this. And we may or may not have to do this again very, very, very soon. Hint, hint. 22, we're almost done with the part 1s. Which graph represents the cosine function with no horizontal shift, an amplitude of 2, and a period of 2 pi over 3? Well, it's a cosine function. So cosine starts at the max or the min. It does not start at the midline. This one is a cosine. This one is a sine. This one is a cosine, the negative cosine. And this one is a sine because it starts at the midline. So I'm already down to 1 and 3. They both look pretty similar. The only difference is this value here. If the period is 2 pi over 3, that means that one full cycle will be done by 2 pi over 3. In choice 1, is this one full cycle? No, that's like 3 full cycles. Now, in choice 3, I don't see 2 pi over 3 on the graph, but would it make sense that this right here might be 2 pi over 3? Yes. Your answer is choice 3. Also, if you do 2 pi over 3, there's 3 waves here. 1, 2, 3. So 2 pi over 3 times 3 is 2. As you get towards the end of the multiple choice, there are going to be little twists. But again, eliminate choices that you know cannot be the answer. Again, every time I look up, more and more students in here. That's awesome because, you know, when I started the session, we're not very prompt, but we care. This question, oi. Oi, 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 oi. This one is a little mean. To be honest, we'll put up a little bit. It's not what you think it is. It's not asking you to set up an exponential model. It's asking which of these is the same as the value after 1.5 years. So, if the initial value is 300, it's losing 48% of its value. So if it's losing 58%, it's maintaining 42%. So I'm going to find 42% of 300, which is 0.42 times 300. I'm going to go to my calculator. 0.42 times 300 is 124. So I know the value to be about $126. So now I'm going to go to each choice. These are just expressions. E is just a number. Whichever one of those is 126 is going to be my answer. So I'm going to go to my calculator. I'm going to type in 300. If you don't know how to type in E, you got some problems. Second ln, negative 0.87. Is that 126? Looks pretty close. Let's try the other choices. I'm just going to copy that to make my life a little bit easier. Negative 0.63. Is that 126? Not even close. I'm going to paste it again. Negative 0.58. Definitely not 126. And finally, negative 0.42. Definitely not. The answer is choice 1. Listen, here's the deal. We've been taking Common Core exams for 3 years now. You know that the state's going to give us a lot of straightforward problems. We get those right, we pass. We get those right, we get an 80. If you want 100, you're going to be able to deal with stuff like this and think outside the box and come up with a plan. That's it. This is a very difficult question because to come up with what I came up with here is something that is very difficult. So if you got 23 wrong, not the end of the world. If you're trying to get 100 in this thing and you got 23 wrong, well, I don't know what to tell you. A cardboard box manufacturing company is building boxes with length represented by x plus 1, width by 5 minus x, height by x minus 1. The volume is modeled by this function grade. Over which interval is the volume of the box changing at the fastest average rate? It's, again, an average rate of change question. And again, one with a given interval. Now, can I cheat a little bit here? Because it's a graph, average rate of change is slope. Which interval has the greatest slope? Is it 1 to 2? Is it 1 to 3.5? Is it 1 to 5? Or is it 0 to 3.5? Well, definitely not the dream, because the average rate of change there is 0. Could you go through each of these to the average rate of change? Yes. I believe that the steepest part of this graph is the black, which is from 1 to 2. If I'm wrong, well, probably should spend more time going through each one, which you should in your test, but, you know, it is getting a little bit wrong. This, to me, it seems like the steepest part of the graph. It curves after that. But again, you could always do the same thing we did in question number 20. All right, on to the open responses.